All right, folks, welcome to the inaugural episode of, I forgot the letters. Give me a second here. Welcome to the inaugural episode of Q&A WT, fuck me. All right, folks, welcome to the inaugural episode of Q&A WT, fucking shit, dude, how do I not, God. All right, folks, welcome to the inaugural episode of Q&A WTBD, aka BFA. It's a rough draft title. It's a working title, so we're gonna maybe improve that by the next video. But today we're gonna bring you some real solid content. I'm your host, the Big Dog, aka Brady Flanders. Today, folks, you've got some questions. I've got some answers. Let's get to it.
Are you ready?
All right, well, we've got a question here from a fan, Jack, age 9, from Gary, Indiana. Dear Big Dog Brady, how did you get into the pool business? Well, Jack, that's a great question. I used to frequent a website a lot. It was called bizbuysell.com. No free shout-outs, by the way, but bizbuysell.com. And it's a website basically where folks sell their businesses. You're going to go on there, you'll see convenience stores and restaurants and everything under the sun. And I was always under the impression that, like, you know, you sell houses and you sell cars and cats and dogs and all this stuff, but I never really thought, like, people sell businesses. I always thought, like, you know, when someone retires, they just close their business. And it was fascinating to me to go on there and see these people sell their establishments and sell their businesses after maybe a couple of years or 20 years or 50 years. And if you go on that website for South Florida, you're going to see a shitload of pool routes. And you'll see them for $40,000 and $20,000 and $250,000. It's a wide range. And a lot of times, brokerage companies will post these representing a seller. And I went through a company called NPSR, National Pool Route Sales. They broker the entire deal between a buyer and a seller. I didn't really want to start off big and get into a $300,000 pool route, but I started small. I ended up getting like 27 accounts when I was brand new. It interested me. I figured, hey, I could put an operator in place to run this. It's a new industry. It might be challenging, might be fun. It is. It was all those things. It is all those things.
It's probably not a good sign that it didn't just kickstart.
Yeah, it was pretty simple. I filled out a form on their website. They got in touch with me. I told them what I was looking for, what some of my goals were. They got me, all right, well, based on those answers here, here's some routes in your area that might apply to you. You fill out an NDA. They send you some information on the route, and before you know it, you get in touch with the sellers, and next thing I knew, I sent some money to escrow and I owned a pool business. To clarify though, if you buy like a restaurant on that website or you buy like an apartment building or whatever, you're buying a business. In the pool business, generally speaking, you're not buying a business, you're not buying a website, you're not buying infrastructure or equipment or anything. You're typically just buying a book of business, meaning customers' contact information. So for me, what I did was I bought 27 phone numbers, 27 addresses, 27 names as an example, with agreements and promises from the seller that they wouldn't compete, that there were guarantees in place. As an example, if a client didn't make a payment in the first 90 days of me owning this business, the seller would have to replace them as a client or refund me. So there's lots of guarantees in place. And Jack from Indiana, that was a great question. That's how I got started in the pool biz. Got another one here from a fan. Big Dog Brady, you lost some weight recently from the looks of it. More of a statement than a question, but we'll take it. Can you please impart some wisdom on us lowly peasants? Folks, coming to the right place for that kind of information.
The right place at the right time.
Now, you got to keep in mind, I went at my heaviest, I was at about 230. Right now, I'm at about $190. In high school, for reference, I was at about $180, maybe $185. So right now, I'm kind of close to my high school weight. But when I graduated high school, it was just a slow, and it happens to a lot of people. If you get off track from your goals, if you get a little undisciplined, you can put on some weight as you get older. And at my peak, I was at about 230. Now, shout out me, I've got a 6'1" frame, all right, not to brag, but it's spread out pretty well. I was never morbidly, insanely obese, but, a little chunky monkey. And simply put, guys, if you want to lose weight, if you want to improve your health, it's simple. Eat less, move more. It's not rocket science. You know the answer. And I'll give you a 3-step patented Big Dog formula for success, all right? If you eat less, you're going to lose weight. If you eat less, but of what you do consume, it's high in protein and high in fiber, you're gonna lose body fat. And if you eat less, but of what you do consume, it's high in protein, high in fiber, and you move heavy shit, you lift weights, you'll lose weight. Of that weight, a lot of it'll be body fat, and more importantly, you'll pack on muscle. And muscle's kind of the ultimate cheat code. It's hard to put on because it takes work, but the more muscle you have, the more calories you burn just by existing. So thanks for acknowledging the weight loss. Caroline from Jackson City, Nevada. Really appreciate that question, and hopefully that helps. Let's see here. Dear Mr. Brady, is Greg okay? Greg, man. Everyone's always asking these questions about Greg. He's fine, guys. You can chill with the Greg questions. We had a small incident last month with his ankle monitor bracelet, but like it's a non-story. Okay, so yeah, he's fine. We can move on from that one. Dear Mr. Dawg. Now, my father was Mr. Dawg. You can call me Brady. All right, but dear Mr. Dawg. Dolphins winning the Super Bowl this year, question mark? Well,
I hope so.
That's a great question, all right? Don't get me all jacked up with this one, folks. This is, I tell you what, I've been a fan of the Miami Dolphins for going on 15 years. If you want to know my origin story, it started as a child. Falone's Fun Time Center, Miss Bernice, who certifiably, looking back now, was the biggest lesbian on planet Earth. Great lady, though. Shout out Miss Bernice. Shout out Falone's Fun Time Center. She was, and keep in mind, I grew up in Rochester, New York. So we're about 90 minutes from Buffalo. Upstate New York is just, it's Bills country. Everyone's a fanatic for the Bills. But Miss Bernice, she was a diehard, lunatic, 1980s vintage retro merino Dolphins fan. And being a young impressionable kid, I was like, oh, I'm a Dolphins fan too. I like Miss Bernice. And you know, I love Miss Bernice, man. She got the entire after school program obsessed with football cards. We would always be trading cards as kids, and we'd play two-hand touch football in the back, the back area, and like we talked a lot about character. And honest to God, now that I'm saying it out loud, I learned a lot of, the word character. I learned, like, she always preached to us, hey, good people have good character, and talked about that. So I actually learned a lot of lessons at Falone's Fun Time Center. But I became a fan at a real young age. In 5th grade, that was the 2007 season, if you're not familiar with that. That was the 1-in-15 season, the only redeemable play from that entire year. Greg Camarillo, Baltimore Ravens, overtime, and it protected us and it saved us from being the first team to ever go undefeated in the wrong direction, 0-16. So that was my first year ever being a Dolphins fan. I went from that to 2008, the Wildcat year, one of the more insane, explosive, crazy years of for an NFL team really ever. I mean, we just exploded, and obviously had a really disappointing result in the playoffs. I still remember that game, 27-9. Ravens. I mean, it was tough. And then basically from 2008 until last year, it's just been a living hell.
Jeez Louise!
It's not like we've sucked. I would have preferred a lot of years of going like 2-14, 3-13. At least we would have been stacking up draft picks. Just an ungodly amount of mediocrity. A lot of 7-9s, 8-8s. Just a decade of just miserable, middle of the pack football. But for the first time ever, last year, Coach McDaniel, this team, they got me juiced up. We've got the GOAT. Who needs Patrick Mahomes? Who needs these guys, huh? We've got the GOAT. His name is Duaniga.
What did he say?
Manoa Lapola Tongo Vailoa. The greatest quarterback in the league is going to be soon. And I think we got ourselves a real solid squad this year, man. We've got a defense that packs a punch. They were a little underwhelming last year. This year under Vic Fangio, these new stars we've added and that squad gelling together, this defense is going to pop this year. We've got the offense, which was historically good last year. We hadn't had a top 10 offense, for reference, since our Lord and Savior Dan Marino retired in 1999. Last year, we had a top 5 offense in the NFL, which is just insane to witness if you hadn't witnessed that for 15, 16 years prior. And it was the first year in the system. So this year, 2023, I'm really, 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 really excited. We've got an extra year under the same offensive system. We've got a killer defense. We've got some real superstars. This is going to be a tough football team to play this year, so I'm excited. I don't know if we're going to be winning the Super Bowl, but stay tuned. I think we're going to have a real exciting squad. Here we go. We got another question from a young buck from Ohio. Side note, who the fuck lives in Ohio? I mean, just the shit. I mean, just, you want to talk about, there's 50 states in this beautiful union of ours, and you have consciously chosen to live in the armpit, the urethra of our country, Ohio. Insane. Dear Mr. Brady, when do we get to have a party on your boat? Everyone's been asking this, man. This is top secret info. What I will say is this. Open invite, all right? Anyone's unless you're a sicko, unless you're a real pervert off the internet, huh? But if you're a cool cat and you want to hang out, you want to visit, come on down to SoFlo. I got a boat. I'm not going to tell you where it is because, you know, aforementioned sickos and perverts. But I got a cool boat. It's unique living. Before I lived on the boat, I lived in a van. So I've lived in some unique spots, and this boat is friggin' sick. But to answer your question, when are we gonna have a party on the boat? Whenever you want, man. Come on now. Folks, we got a real good question right here. Mr. Dawg. Well, it's not really a question. 3 book recommendations now. Exclamation point. Folks, these aren't questions. That's a declarative, exclamatory statement, all right? 3 book recommendations. Now, also, who the fuck raised you, wolves? How about you, well, a little bit of politeness, man. What the hell? Anyways, but because you asked so nicely, because you got to the point, I'll give you the answer. I'll give you the goods. 3 book recommendations off the top of my head as follows. The 4 Agreements, Giftology, and The Power of One More. And I'll give you a quick breakdown of each one. The 4 Agreements is a very, very short, simple personal development book. The first chapter is kind of a fever dream. It's kind of a little bit woo-woo. It's a little bit out there. You know, the guy's talking about your life is a dream, and the dream is a shadow, and the shadow is the sun, and the sun is a dream, and the dream is inside your head, and you are a figure. It's fucking like, what the the guy was baked when he wrote the first chapter. But after that, it's pretty damn solid. So the 4 rules in the 4 Agreements are as follows. Number 1, always be impeccable with your word. Number 2, don't ever take anything personally. Number 3, never make assumptions. And number 4, always do your best. Those 4 rules, if you really, really take those into account as you're living your everyday life, things are going to be good for you. So the 4 Agreements. Book number 2, Giftology by John Ruhlin. He's a fellow Cutco alum. The book, I'll be candid with you, is basically a giant Cutco advertisement for sure, but Cutco does make a tremendous gift. But John's entire business, his entire strategy is strategic gifting. And then book number 3, The Power of One More by Eddie Milet, aka Eddie Spaghetti. I love that dude. I think the title, frankly, has more of an impact than the quality of the book, the content inside the book. Now, the content inside the book is all-encompassing for the personal development world. If you want to get better at time management or habit creation, there's a bunch of chapters. The identity chapter is tremendous. The book is fantastic, but the philosophy, the mentality of the power of one more, if you implement that into your daily life, things get better. It's got a compounding effect. If you're at the gym and you do 1 more rep, you do 1 more minute on the treadmill, 1 more minute in the sauna. If you're in sales, you shake 1 more hand, you make 1 more phone call, you send 1 more email, you close 1 more deal. Kind of came second nature to me because when I was a kid, I could not go inside the house until I'd made that last basketball shot. So those are 3 of my favorite books. 4 Agreements, Giftology, and The Power of One More. Here we go. Question from Simon in St. Louis, Missouri. Simon, thanks for being a fan, man. Big Dog Brady, I checked out your YouTube channel. It fucking sucks. Simon, go fuck yourself. That's not even a question. That is just a statement. You're a hater. This guy's a hater. We gotta go, Henry, we gotta go to Walmart, get some haterade for old Simon, huh? This guy's a fake fan, huh? Anyways. Pshaw, that's what I say about that. Let's see here. This is a question written by a real person. I didn't write this one. Big Dog Brady, why hasn't videographer Henry joined Brad Lee's real coaching group yet? Henry, they're asking the question.
You must ask the right questions.
I don't know, man. I didn't write this one. Folks, let me just give you a little advertisement on a man named Brad Lee. Uncle B, Big Dog, Big Daddy Bradley. He's got this coaching group, networking group, mastermind group, whatever the hell you want to call it, where, to give you some context, I had never, ever paid for personal development, coaching, networking, ever before this. My background is I spent most of my adult formative years working in a direct sales company, and I'm incredibly grateful because I was exposed to personal development topics and ideas at a very, very young age. I mean, at 18 years old, I had access to knowledge that people in their 60s didn't have. It was just tremendous, the environment that I was in from an education standpoint. And but if I ever needed help, if I ever had questions, I would reach out to someone in my company who was getting the job done, and we would just jump on Zoom for an hour, or I'd give them a phone call, and we could bounce ideas back and forth. It was awesome. So the idea of paying for help always felt foreign to me after I stopped working there. 'Cause, folks, I don't know if you know this, but if you want to jump on a call with a high performer and pick their brain for an hour, yeah, that'll be like $1,100. That'll be $600. You know, it's different in the real world. You got to pay for that shit. So the idea felt a little foreign to me, but I knew that if I wanted to level up, I needed to be around other people who wanted to level up, and that's exactly what this group does.
Did we just become best friends? Yep!
He has like a Discord. I didn't even know what Discord was before this, but the whole group is filled with people who want to become better versions of themselves. And it's people from a wide variety of different industries, from insurance to consulting to social media agencies to, I want a pool business, there's landscapers in there. It's just people who want to get better. And man, oh man, I tell you what, proximity is power, baby. If you want to level up, you got to be around people like that. And it's awesome. You can engage with folks. A lot of people share phone numbers, and you can always ask questions in the chat. People are always following up messages. We're all following each other on social media and hyping each other up and sharing successes. It's a fantastic environment. But the real kicker is every single Wednesday evening, Brad has a live call with everybody. This is a guy, he always says, Brad has a simple line: find out what you want in life, find out who's got it, ask them how they got it, right? That's the success formula for success in life. And Brad's a guy that I look up to, man. He's got a tremendous brand following. He loves people. He wants to help people. He owns multiple successful businesses. He's got a beautiful family. I mean, it's like, that's a guy that I emulate. That's a guy I aspire to be like. So I figure, hey, I got to be around him more if I want to get there. So every Wednesday night we've got a live call with him and his guests, which are just, I mean, the heat that these calls bring, guys, is insane. So and you can just unmute on Zoom and just ask him questions if you've got questions. It's awesome. So I would highly recommend it. Just for a point of reference, I don't make a damn dime with anything. If you choose to do anything with this information, that's on you. I don't get anything from it. But if you want to go to realcoaching.io, you can check it out. Go on the website. It's a couple $100 a month. But genuinely, guys, the quality of my life has shot up since I've joined. I think differently. I've got a better sphere of influence. It's been a tremendous investment in myself. So check it out, folks. I hope you've enjoyed today's installment of Q&A WTBD, aka BFA. That stands for Q&A with a big dog, also known as Brady Flanders, allegedly. Working title. It's a rough draft title, we'll call that. Hopefully you've pulled a little bit of value from this. Hopefully we've dropped a little bit of knowledge on you. And folks, if you want to send a question in, it's simple. At Big Dog Brady Flanders on every single major platform. Like, follow, comment, subscribe. Get that algorithm churning. I mean, we're talking Amish with the butter, man. Get that thing churning. Like, follow, subscribe, do all that stuff. Come back later.